I am.
I don't like all these screens.
We shouldn't need to, but oh boy. Ugh. the audio recording. It is 5:30.
We start talking.
Yes, we'll still do the normal start.
I'm gonna call this meeting to order. It's off. You'll all like to do the pledge, please. Here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We only need to use the microphones for the audience, and since if Carissa can't hear us right now, she can
Are you on like a web?
we're broadcasting right now, yeah.
Okay, Moto
There she is,
Johnson,
okay. Got it. Here.
Katie Johnston, Diana Mendoza,
Here.
Nikki Pettit,
Here.
Tyler Wilson, Robin Vaughn,
Here.
John Brotherton.
Here. Number two, action agenda addition, corrections and modifications. I'm just gonna make the motion to approve the agenda, removing and correcting items as presented.
I second it.
Thank you, Mickey. Seconded.
Moto Johnson,
Aye.
Diana Mendoza,
Aye.
Nikki Pettit,
Aye.
Robin Vaughn,
Aye.
John Brotherton.
Aye. Number three, we're going to do closed session. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. So I'll make the motion, move to closed session regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. Can I get a second?
I second.
Thank you.
John Brotherton,
Aye.
Robin Vaughn,
Aye.
Nikki Pettit,
Aye.
Diana Mendoza,
Aye.
Moto Johnston.
Aye.
All right, and just for the public, and this will be on the screen while we're gone, is the board will motion to reconvene into open session at the end of closed session, so you won't hear that vote. And then we will resume open session. We'll plan to at 6 o'clock.
Normal time.
Normal time. I'm going to turn off the audio and the Oh, and video again, just so you know. We are in open session. We did that. Yeah. Hannah, did you want to go ahead and take attendance again, you said?
Thank you.
Okay.
Moto Johnson.
Here.
Katie Johnston.
Here.
Diana Mendoza. Here. Nikki Pettit.
Here.
Tyler Wilson.
Here.
Robin Vaughn.
Here.
John Brotherton.
Here. Okay, the next agenda item for the Board of Education is a hearing concerning the waiver of school code requirements concerning publication of the annual statement of affairs. All persons desiring to be heard will have opportunity to present written or oral testimony with respect to the waiver. Currently, Rantoul City School 137 is required to publish the annual statement of affairs annually in the News Gazette. Granting this modification of the school code waiver would save Rantoul City Schools at least $1,800 each year, or approximately $9,000 over a 5-year period. These funds could therefore be utilized for other items or fees essential to the education of our students. The impact of this opportunity will be assessed over the 5-year period of the waiver through feedback from students, parents, teachers, and staff, as well as from community members. At this time, I will open the discussion. The purpose of this hearing is to inform the public that the Board of Education intends to take action to obtain a waiver for a modification to the school code as stated previously. Are there any comments from the members of the Board of Education regarding this waiver? Seeing none, we'll now move on to written testimony. Is there any written testimony regarding the waiver? We'll move on to oral testimony or any public comments concerning the waiver. Is there anyone who present who wishes to provide oral testimony or public comment regarding the waiver? At this time, all persons desiring to be heard have been given an opportunity to present oral and written testimony with respect to the waiver. Is there a motion to adjourn this hearing?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Nikki. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
We need to have a roll call.
Moto Johnson.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn.
Aye.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Yep, so now we have the action item. Mr. Brotherton did read what I have on the screen here at this time, that in his comments. So unless the board has questions for me, it's up to you. You want to make the motion?
I'll make, get used to these microphones. I'll make the motion to approve the application for waiver of school code as presented. Can I get a second?
I second it.
Moto Johnson.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn. John Brotherton.
Aye. Number 6, public comments. Do we have any people who'd like to speak to the board?
All right, if you have a green form, I'll come out and get them. I'll get it, This is the time. You got to do it now.
Chris?
For the board to be aware, there is we have a new system here, so Mary Elise is standing there. And she's actually doing translation for us. So it should be better than last time, but you'll hear someone talking the whole time. It's Mary Elise.
Yes. Push the button.
It should be green.
Yeah, push the button.
You're on. See the light. See the light.
Thank you again for your time and attention to the reorganization options. I sent a somewhat lengthy email earlier this week with my opinion and some research to show why I support option 7 from last week out of the 4 you're currently considering. I would just like to take a minute again to stress the importance of not just looking at the current pros and cons of each option, but also the future pros and cons that each one could create. What problems will each option solve, but also what problems do they have the potential to create? Options 3 and 4 both take apart our current schools. Specifically, the pre-KK option takes apart Pleasant Acres, where we have shown growth evident in our designation moving from targeted to commendable, our teacher retention rate, and our positive climate and culture. The grade level centers create a significant obstacle in forming relationships from teachers to students, as they would be starting a new school every couple of years. Forming relationships and trust with students is at the heart of conscious discipline, responsive classroom, and other practices that we utilize at RCS. And the added transitions are also not the most developmentally appropriate. It also increases the gap from one grade level to the next when they move schools and creates vertical alignment collaboration becoming extremely difficult to happen, as we saw last time years ago with grade level centers. To give a specific and more personal example of the strides we've made, my son is now a freshman at RTHS. None of his classroom teachers from Pleasant Acres are still at RCS. My daughter is at 6th grade at Ader. All but one of her classroom teachers are still at RCS, and she even tried to figure out how she could commute from Indiana to Pleasant Acres to keep her job when her husband got relocated. These relationships matter. Option 6 provides little disruption and addresses the population change, but does not allow for growth in our bilingual program. Option 7 provides little disruption, addresses the population change, and allows for growth in the bilingual program. It's the potential start to what needs to happen at RCS, and our bilingual community deserves that opportunity to grow. What a wonderful problem that we have to solve. I speak for myself and many other staff members when I say that we are not opposed to change. That's not what this is about. We embrace it every day, and we've shown how we welcome positive change. We've changed our approach to literacy after studying the new research from the science of reading. We changed our approach to traditional discipline when we started to learn about trauma, how our brains grow and change, and implemented conscious discipline and responsive classrooms. We learned how to teach kids on Zoom and how to welcome them back and make strategic plans to address learning loss. We are not opposed to change, but we do want to do everything we can to ensure that it's the kind of change that will ultimately benefit our scholars. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next is Dawn. Our next one is Dawn.
Me?
Yes, Dawn, let's see, all right.
Hello, my name is Dawn Baselli.
Make sure the microphone's on.
Is
Is it green?
Green.
All right, good. I'll start you. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Dawn Baselli. My only question was, with the whole Board of Education, like calling to report if you have an issue or something, if you need something to be handled, like what's going on with that, or you guys are trying to get a waiver?
Is there any way you can speak, hold the microphone closer to you? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
My question was for the Board of Education, like if there's a problem and we come to the superintendent or we come here, we report our problem. The Board of Education, you can call and complain and they'll handle it. You guys applied for a waiver where there's not gonna be that no more, or is that what you're trying to do? That was my question. What's going on with that?
And that the waiver doesn't have anything, this is not about that at all. You still certainly have every right to come to us or contact us. So this is nothing, it's the annual report that goes in. That's
What
what
about the waiver meeting? What is that? That's not
No,
tonight?
we just did that.
Or you just?
But that was about the publication of the annual report in the newspaper. That's all that's the annual report, what's going on. And has nothing to do with discipline or your concern.
No, I was saying for like the waiver, or like when is the waiver forward that you guys applied for a waiver for the Board of Education? Was that for?
Oh, I can answer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if, and we're required to
Annually, we're required to publish the annual statement of affairs in the News Gazette. And the board, and the district is applying for a waiver so that that does not have to be published in the newspaper. The annual statement of affairs still has to be published. It'll be published on the website like it currently is.
Okay, just
Okay.
the website. Okay,
Yep.
that's all my question was. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Taylor Torres Garcia. We don't want you.
Let's do it like a triple duty.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Keila Torre García, maestra de kindergarten en Isla.
My name is Kayla Torres Garcia. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Isla.
Mi pregunta a mí misma es, ¿cuál es la situación?
I asked myself, what is the situation exactly right now?
El problema planteado es que la población hispana está creciendo y esto va a seguir así.
The problem that we are facing right now is that the Hispanic population is growing and we don't have space for them into our buildings.
La solución es atender el problema que solo envuelve a Islón y a PA, porque es donde está la población bilingüe, sin tener que reestructurar los 4 edificios.
In my opinion, the solution of this situation just involve Island and PA without touching or making a restructuration in the 4 schools.
La solución debió ser construir más salones, pero ahora no se puede porque necesita resolverse en 6 meses.
One solution was considered to build more rooms, but I know that is not possible because we need at least 6 months in advance to do that.
La opción número 1 es la más razonable, ya que el problema es el espacio para ubicar a la población hispana que está creciendo.
Option number 1 is the most reasonable option that will solve the problem because if it's due to space, we have the space to reorganize and just have all the Hispanics in a building.
Y no es segregación, porque sería lo mismo que está establecido ahora mismo en Islón, donde hay 2 ramas monolingües y una rama bilingüe.
And we cannot call it segregation because this is what we are doing right now. Basically, at Island, we have only 2 rows of monolingual classrooms and 1 row of bilingual rooms.
Pero esta vez sería de manera contraria, 2 ramas bilingües y una monolingüe en la misma escuela.
So if we choose option 1, we will do in the opposite, 2 rows of bilingual classrooms and 1 monolingual.
In the same building. Esta opción resolvería el problema que los bilingües tenemos de desigualdad ante los monolingües.
This option will solve all the problems that the bilingual students face inequity in front of monolingual students.
Ya que los estudiantes monolingües tienen todos sus recursos disponibles en el mismo plantel y reciben sus servicios todos los días.
Due to that, all monolingual students receive all the services every single day because they are all together in a building. Meanwhile, bilingual students don't.
Pero nuestros estudiantes bilingües no reciben los servicios todos los días porque el recurso bilingüe tiene que moverse entre las 2 escuelas que proveen el programa bilingüe.
They do not receive the service accordingly because the teachers that provided, they need to switch and go back and forth between 2 schools.
Por ejemplo, las intervencionistas están 3 días en una escuela y 2 días en la otra escuela.
There's an interventionist who goes 2 days to school and 3 days to another one. Same with the speech and some others.
Mientras los monolingües tienen sus intervencionistas en su plantel todos los días.
Meanwhile, monolingual students, they have their own specialists every single day in a bit.
Así pasa con la maestra de educación especial, la maestra bilingüe y los terapistas.
It goes with all of us, special education teachers, speech therapists, and interventionists.
Entonces no hay igualdad de condiciones entre toda la población estudiantil.
So there's no equity in all the conditions according to the student population.
Si se establece la opción número 1, se resuelve este problema y estaríamos en igualdad de
If
condiciones.
we pick up the number 1, we will solve the problem and we will have an equity in conditions for both groups.
Anteriormente teníamos la ley No Child Left Behind, pero ahora se sustituyó por la ley Every Student Success Act.
Previously we had the law No Child Left Behind. Now we have one that substituted for Every Student Success Act,
Donde la legislación de educación nacional se compromete a la igualdad de oportunidades para todos los estudiantes de la nación.
in which the national education legislation has a compromise for the equity of giving the opportunities for all the students in a nation.
Que incluye estudiantes en situación de pobreza, minorías, estudiantes de educación especial y aquellos con limitado conocimiento de inglés o ninguno.
Which include students, we are in the poverty category or minority, special education on the ones that they don't have any knowledge in English or none.
Tenemos un problema de espacio porque la población hispana está en aumento y seguirá aumentando. Debemos hacer un solo plantel que contenga todo lo necesario, especializado, con los recursos y el personal necesario para garantizar la igualdad en todas las áreas, así como se garantiza en la comunidad monolingüe.
We have a situation about space. The Hispanic population is growing and it will keep growing. We have to make one building that has all what is necessary and a specialist and provide all the resources to guarantee the equity in all areas for the bilingual community.
No hay necesidad de reestructurar todas las escuelas cuando la solución es trabajar con la población involucrada en el problema.
There's no need to make a restructure in touching all the schools when the solution is only to work with the population involved.
Además, nosotros los hispanos somos minoría aquí y lo sabemos, por lo que no me siento representada en este board. A mí como maestra, quien me representa son mis estudiantes, los padres y la comunidad hispana, y espero que así también los puedan escuchar.
Also, we are minority. So I do not feel myself represented in the board. I am represented with, by my students, by the parents and the Hispanic community. I would like to be heard and taken into account.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Next up is
Denise Lucchese.
Denise, please. Denise,
Me.
thank you, Denise. You're on.
And as a reminder, we do need to stay to 5 minutes. We went over quite a bit, but I think the board's okay with a little extra when it's being translated, but just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Hola, hello. Mi nombre es Denise Lucchese. Yo soy mamá de estudiantes, esposa de maestros, hermana de maestros y representante de la comunidad.
My name is Denise Lucas. I am a mother. I am a wife of a teacher, and I'm a member of the community as well.
Y estoy 100% casi de acuerdo con todo lo que Keila dijo anterior.
I am 100% in agreement with what Kayla just mentioned it before.
Me gustaría que se tomara en cuenta tener una sola escuela bilingüe donde todos los niños reciban las ayudas necesarias.
I would like that you take into consideration that every kid receive all what they need in one only bilingual school.
Y tomando en cuenta que el problema es el espacio, podemos pensar a largo plazo, pues añadir más room en lo que se establece más el sistema bilingüe en la escuela.
And thinking in a long period decision, if we do that, to have them all in a building, then we can think of a plan of adding more rooms into other buildings that you require.
Y creo que lo podemos lograr. Tenemos excelentes maestros y tenemos excelente board y tenemos excelentes sistemas de trabajo aquí.
And I think that this could be done because we have excellent teachers as excellent members on the board and as excellent people in the community as well.
Y no sé por qué no lo pensarían como un reto, porque podríamos terminar siendo una escuela ejemplar, no solo aquí en Rantoul ni en el condado de Champaign, sino en el estado de Illinois completo.
And she doesn't know why you don't take this as a dare. Because we could be an example not only for Champaign County, for the whole Illinois state.
Y para mí sería un honor que todo esto se logre y que Dios los ayude a tomar la mejor decisión para todos.
It will be an honor for her if this could be done. And please, may God help us to, you all to have the best decision to take this day.
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Francisco Rojas is back.
Hello, my name is Francisco Rojas. So my daughter, she's in kindergarten, PA. So my concern is, I know Mr. Wood, when he used to be in Hater. So my concern is, I don't want my daughter to go to school for 2 years and then the next 2 years go to another school. I feel like, she's gonna miss, her friends and stuff like that. So I think I'm with them, with Kayla and Denise. I hope this board vote for number one, because I think it's the best choice for the Hispanic. That way you have a kid from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade in one building instead of every year going to this part of town or that part of town. So I hope that takes us consideration, and that's my only concern as a parent, because like every parent works. So my thing is, my only problem is like, okay, I got my daughter in this school this year, but then I don't know what's gonna happen next year. So, you have your own, basically your own schedule of that. So it was a short sentence, so I appreciate it. I hope y'all vote number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Maria? Matias? Maria?
Just stepped out.
Okay, we'll come back.
This is, sorry, this one just says Shay on it. Shay, S-H-A what?
Good evening, my name is Shay Hernandez, and I am here to share with you the importance, value, and impact that the bilingual program had on me. Growing up all the way to 5th grade, I was in the bilingual program. Once I entered 6th grade, I had the option to go fully English because it was not necessary for me to be in a Spanish classroom. Why? Because by 5th grade, I could write, read, and speak in both languages. Not only that, but I was also advanced in any other subject. I have a sibling in first grade. Knowing I was able to accomplish all that growing up is something I want my sibling and the rest of our Hispanic children to be able to accomplish as well. With all the help provided in a well-structured bilingual school and help them feel identified. The point of all this is to improve, be better, grow, and having a bilingual school is what we need to accomplish that. We have a lot of parents that get translated by their kids because of the language barrier of not being able to communicate with others. I've seen teenagers, even adults, all the way down to a 10-year-old translating for their parent. It's amazing how a 10-year-old is able to not only speak, but also think and be able to translate and properly communicate in both languages. We all know we're in a country of opportunities, so why not let our Hispanic community have the opportunity to have a bilingual school? I'm sure everyone in here knows how beneficial it is to speak more than one language in any place. How nowadays people would rather have a person that can speak two languages rather than one. How we have more opportunities for being able to speak more than one language. So why limit that? Why not give our Hispanic community a bilingual school instead of trying to touch other schools? I understand and I respect for those of you that are against option one, and for those few parents that don't want their children in the bilingual program. But as a bilingual person, I am proud of the person I am today, how I'm able to think, speak, read, and write in both languages. And I'm not only talking about me, but for anybody that can speak more than one language. Being able to communicate in more than one language has opened me a lot of doors and will keep opening. Having that bilingual school is a step we have to take to ensure our Hispanic community get the right education, help, and opportunities offered. Porque el que habla dos idiomas vale por dos, because the one who speaks two languages is worth by two. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Maria?
You back?
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Maria Matias, and I have been a permanent substitute for 3 years in this district. In a sense, I can say that it fills me with pride to see that we are growing as a district. I personally have been permanently in a monolingual class for 3 years, but seeing how RCS grows fills me with pride. When I was looking at the options, I was not looking at them as a point of view of a teacher. I transferred myself to the past when I was like 7 years old and I arrived to this country. One thing that made it easier to transition from home country to here, being in a place with people that struggle the same as me. That made me feel better. It made me feel like I was not alone. I understand that we all want the best for our students, and that's the reason why we are here. In my opinion, option one is more reasonable because we will continue to have the same problem when more Hispanic students arrive. I also feel like going with option one will give the opportunity for the bilingual program to grow and offer more opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Dana Bravo?
Mi nombre es Linda Bravo. My name is Linda Bravo.
Y soy la presidenta de DIPAC.
I'm BPAC president.
Y como los miré la semana pasada, volví esta semana.
As I was here last week, I'm here again.
That's okay.
Nosotros, como representantes de los padres bilingües, nosotros seguimos en la posición de que si hay un cambio, queremos la número uno.
As a representative of all the bilingual parents, if there's gonna be a change, we want to keep the position that we want option number one.
Porque para sería una escuela, queremos una escuela que esté bien estructurada, que esa escuela tenga a los niños toda la ayuda posible que ellos puedan adquirir.
We would like a very structured school in which all the kids will receive as much help as they are required.
Que cuando ellos necesiten, hay muchos niños que necesitan ayuda, necesitan las intervencionistas, que ellas estén ahí todos los días, desde la hora que se entra hasta la hora que ellas salen de la escuela.
We want that every child that needs the support with an interventionist, we want those people be there since 7:30 until 3:15, always there for them.
Si se supone que estos cambios son para el bien de los niños, pues deberíamos de pensar en el bien que sería todo eso para los niños.
If the changes that we're thinking are for the students' benefits, so we should think about them right now. And how good could this be?
Que los maestros también puedan trabajar en conjunto, que si uno necesita ayuda, esté el otro para darle soporte, que ellos también se unan y a lo mejor teniendo una sola escuela, eso funcionaría mejor para ellos.
And as the teachers could be for once in one single building and give support to each other and grow as a team as well.
Y los papás de ellos, de la mayoría de ellos, o sea, están conscientes que no puede, como lo dijeron los compañeros, que no pueden recoger a un niño cuando ellos tienen varios niños, cómo levantarlos de una escuela, de otra escuela, porque ellos trabajan y tienen que volver a su trabajo.
As many parents have expressed themselves, even here and in the outside, it will be really hard to go and pick up or deliver most of the kids. Even transportation is provided because due to their work, that would affect their schedule and times to go and have them placed in different schools.
Ellos, pues muchas veces son muchos los padres hispanos que recogen a sus niños, porque a veces no tienen para que otra persona los recoja, no tienen ayuda, no tienen otro familiar.
Many Hispanic parents may like kind of sacrifice to pick up their kids because sometimes they don't have somebody else to rely on, so they organize themselves to pick up their kids or deliver them into the school.
Y también tenemos que pensar en ellos, porque si ellos llegan tarde a su trabajo, a ellos los corren, o sea.
So we need to also think about parents because affecting their schedule as well, then they will have a job to provide or get.
Entonces, si se decide hacer un cambio, que sea para el bien de los niños, porque afectaría tanto a los niños como a los padres.
And again, if there's a change, please take into consideration that is a benefit only for the kids and the parents as well.
Por ese motivo, nosotros queremos la opción número 1.
This is why we want option number 1.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just so you know, Leda is the mom of Shay, the one who spoke. In case you didn't know that.
Rafael Lucas.
Rafael Lucas.
Good evening, my name is Rafael Lupis. Right now I'm the ESL teacher at this one. And I wanted to, I know we have some time, but I want to tell you a short story. 8 years ago, I started teaching at Ader. And I was the Spanish teacher for the bilingual group that they have at that time. And it was up under a different admin, and then I don't want to feel anything about it because it was a different time, but the story was this, when they did the scaling and the room allocation, the Spanish group didn't have one. They asked me to share, not one room, but 2. I have to start in the English classrooms for the 6th grade. I know you know Ada pretty well. The other half of the class, is 40 minutes and 40 minutes. The other one I have to do the STEM classroom, so I have to love the whole school with my kids a male transition during the middle of their education, in the middle of the time for education. During that time, I have to hear all kind of complaints about things being touched, so, around kids. And I work with my kids about it, and they requested a meeting with the admin. They wanted their own space. The answer was, no, we don't have room for you. Couple months later, some room was available, became available. It was in the library, brand new, the Innovation Center. We were very proud about it, right? And I asked for it. The answer was no. We don't want the new room to be messed up. And I tell this story because this kind of feels the same. Like, we have a situation, and it's a great one to have, that we're growing. The town is growing, it's a good thing for everybody. I know it's good for the budget because state do something, I hope. And taxes go a little bit higher, some more people pay. Instead of having empty buildings, we have people there. But I hear so many times last week, and I was here, that to be avoiding disruption. It's like disruption, it's like, I assimilate it with, I don't want to be bothered. And people just want, ask the people who are in the situation, ask them what they want. I know sometimes we have an issue, like we cannot get it. But if we have a situation that would also, some people ask them, like we have done in the past for different situations that have in the past, we can do that. But hear the people that are asking for it. We need to, like, it's kind of interesting that we decide, like, we have a situation with this community, but we will decide for you. And that's kind of how it feels. I subscribe to what my part of the community that were spoken, and I'm just very glad that you have give us a chance to hear our voices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Elizabeth. Omas.
Mars, she ain't here right now.
Okay.
I can speak on behalf.
Okay. Thank you. Sir, your name is?
Joseph Palomares.
Okay.
Her answer was number one, to choose, to build a new
Sir,
school.
could you speak to the microphone? Thank you.
Her choice was to build a new school for the Latino community. And you guys gotta see, when I grew up in Texas, born and raised in Tampa, and we didn't have an opportunity to speak both language, They always told us we need to speak English, Now that you have an opportunity to speak both language, might as well take it, And because out here in the construction world, where I work in construction, there's always companies that need people like us, Hispanic, to speak both language, And it's an opportunity for everybody, for you guys and for the community, So I think we should build a new school for them. Plus, instead of having one parent going this way and another kid going this way, imagine the community, the Hispanic community, family usually have like 6 to 5 kids. Now imagine you have to send your kid to Northview, then you gotta go all the way to Pleasant Acres, all over the world, me, myself, I wake up, I got one in high school, one in middle school, and 2 in elementary, And it's a different schedule every day. Now imagine the people that don't have, the kids that don't have their parents at their house because they're working, some of them have to get up early to work. Now they have people that go drop them off, they have other parents drop off the kids now. There's no, it's gonna be a chaos for you guys and for the Latino community, So I think we should build a new school for them. And it's an opportunity, take it, it's in the table. So I choose number one, and my wife chose number one, so let's take it. That's all.
Thank you.
Mariana? Mariana?
Buenas tardes a todos. Good evening, everyone.
Mi nombre es María López, yo soy la maestra de español. Mis primeros 2 años en Plaza Negra y ahora actualmente en
I am the Spanish teacher at Ader, and she was a Spanish teacher at PA 2 years.
Ya han dicho muchas cosas en las que yo estoy de acuerdo, así que no voy a volver a repetir.
Many people have said many things that I agree with, so I'm not going to repeat them again.
En lo que sí yo quiero expresarme en esta tarde es que yo considero que no debiéramos ver la escuela bilingüe como una segregación.
What I would like to say is that we cannot see a bilingual school as a segregation.
Yo pienso más bien que lo debemos ver como una gran ventaja para este distrito y para nuestro pueblo.
I think that we need to see it as an advantage for our district and our community.
Y creo que nosotros podríamos ser bien beneficiados de que se pueda decir que en Rantoul existe una escuela bilingüe.
And we could feel and say that we have a beneficial place for the community, that Rantoul can say we have a bilingual community at school.
Y que la escuela bilingüe no solo se limite a los estudiantes hispanos, sino que podamos darle la oportunidad a los estudiantes monolingües que quieran incursionar y ser bilingües, que puedan estar en esa escuela para ser bilingües también.
That the bilingual school doesn't have a picture for this community that is only for Hispanic students, even though we have a road of monolinguals that they can be part of the bilingual because they can also learn Spanish as well.
Creo que es un gran reto que podemos tener y que podemos trascender y, bueno, ser conocidos, como había mencionado mi hermana allá, no solamente aquí en Rantoul, sino en todos lados, tener algo diferente.
This is a new opportunity and there that we need to try to move on and take it because we can say that this is a place and be proud of it, that it can grow, it can move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you turn the mic off?
Folks, that ends the public comment section part agenda. And move to number 7, action consent agendas. Items.
Okay, in your packet, you have the board meeting minutes. You should have January, and I think Karen got the February 8th meeting in there from last week. The financial reports are in there. There are the regular personnel items in the personnel report. However, I do want to point out there were several, I think we may have had 7 job description updates. Most of those are just cleaning up existing job descriptions. There's no substantial changes. However, there are 3 of our district office staff members where we've updated their job descriptions to include some language about remote work, because those are our employees that currently work remote, not full-time necessarily, but so we needed to update the job description to reflect that. We are excited to announce that we received a donation, as a grant, excuse me, through United Way. It's through the State of Illinois' Healing Illinois initiative. And it's $30,000, and we'll be using that in partnership with the university and the Carter Foundation. And you will hear more about that in the coming months, I hope, not longer than months. Should be happening soon.
I'll make a motion. I get used to this thing. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items, including personnel reports, as submitted with stipulation that each individual is required to comply with all requirements for new hires as indicated in Illinois statutes and RCS board policy and procedures, including ratification of bills prepaid by the financial manager under board policy 4.50. Do I have a second?
I'll second this.
Thank you, Katie.
Bodo Johnson.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn. John Brotherton.
Thank you. Ready for action item number 9, elementary school reorganization.
All right.
Vote for that.
No,
Did you get?
On the consent
I
agenda.
did, no. Aye, yes, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Mr. Brotherton votes yes on the consent agenda.
Don't worry about it. Sorry.
We already had a majority, so,
So anyway, we're on.
okay.
We're on number 8,
Um,
action elementary school.
Thank you, board, and thank you to all of our staff and families and community members that are here this evening. I think it's a record for public comment, at least in the last several years. So that's good to see people here. So I was asked at the last meeting to make a recommendation. And I'm going to go through the process of what I am recommending at this time. The conclusion of this presentation is a recommendation that the district should implement option 7 for the 2024-2025 school year. As a reminder, option 7 is maintaining East Lawn as a K-5 monolingual school and having the grades 3 through 5 bilingual students, and maintaining Pleasant Acres as a K-5 monolingual school while also serving the K-2 bilingual population. What follows is the rationale, concluding with the full recommendation. So what has led to this recommendation? In April of last year, the board approved a shift of East Lawn's 5th grade students and siblings to Pleasant Acres for this school year only. Again, this was only intended to be temporary. At the time of the decision, the district anticipated that the pre-K program would not be returning to Pleasant Acres. In October of 2023, I presented possible reorganization ideas to the employees at East Lawn and Pleasant Acres, as well as to a group of bilingual teachers from both schools. Now, why did we need to do this? The issue was East Lawn had all of the 5th graders. So East Lawn, simply put, needed to return to a K-5 school this year, and Pleasant Acres returned to a K-5 school next year, excuse me. So we had to work through options of what that would look like and what could happen. So at the time, we presented 4 viable options. And at the time, we did not anticipate that the pre-K program would be returning to Pleasant Acres. So the 4 options that were presented to the employees of East Lawn and Pleasant Acres are listed here. Return to the 2022-2023 model. That is currently option 6. East Lawn and Pleasant Acres as grade level schools. That is currently option 2. One school being bilingual with English and one school being English only. That is currently option 1. And the last option I presented, which again, these were all viable options at the time, was East Lawn as a K-5 monolingual school and 3-5 bilingual, with Pleasant Acres as a K-5 monolingual and a K-2 bilingual, currently option 7. So as early as October of this year, we were talking with the staff at East Lawn and Pleasant Acres about these being reorganization options for next year. Later in the fall, the board determined that pre-K would return to Pleasant Acres in the future. Once it was determined how many current classrooms at Pleasant Acres would be used, I was able to reevaluate plans for the 2024-2025 school year. So in January of 2024, I went back and met with the staff. And we had one big meeting on January 2nd, I think was the day. I presented revised possible reorganization ideas to a combined meeting of employees from East Lawn and Pleasant Acres. At this time, only 2 of the options were viable based on the parameters that I was working with at the time. So I shared the 4 options that had already been shared with the staff in October and explained why at this point, the first and 4th on this list were no longer viable options. The first one that's crossed out was no longer viable because the number of classrooms that would be needed at East Lawn. And the last one was not viable due to the number of classrooms that would be needed at Pleasant Acres. At the time, there was nothing in the parameters that we were using that would consider redrawing school boundaries or doing construction of new spaces in schools. So at the January 2024 school board meeting last month, I provided a similar presentation to the board, resulting in consideration of options B and C above, which I don't have them labeled as B and C, but I think you can figure out they're the ones not crossed off. Okay. At that meeting, I was directed to develop additional options and survey families. Following the January board meeting, district administration met with all 7 board members individually or in pairs to discuss additional possibilities. And the board called for a special meeting to publicly share options that were still being developed at the time. In developing these additional options with the board, new parameters were added, such as consideration of redrawing school attendance boundaries, plans that may impact both Broadmeadow and Northview, physically changing spaces in buildings, such as building classrooms within existing schools, and consideration of future curricular programming changes, such as dual language immersion and inclusion of self-contained students with disabilities. I should say greater inclusion of self-contained students with disabilities. So at the special board meeting, which was last week, the family survey findings were shared and 7 viable options were presented. Again, these are viable options. These are options that could happen. There was nothing being said by the board that any of these were ones that anyone particularly wanted to happen. We are discussing options. So I'm not going to read all 7 at this time, okay? But these were the 7 options that were presented. And during the same special board meeting, the board narrowed the options as follows, so that we were considering 3, 4, 6, and 7. I always like to challenge, so I was asked to survey the board, the full K-5 teaching staff following last week's meeting. The board has seen the survey results already, but we haven't shared them publicly. So here we go. When asked to select preferred options from among 7, options 3 and 7 were the most preferred by K-5 teaching staff, and 94 staff responded. There were 114 staff available, just to give you an idea. So that's really a very good response rate. Teachers were asked to vote for their top 3 choices, which is why the numbers look strange. So the top 3 choices, and 3 and 7 were the top choices. Then staff were asked to select from options 3, 4, 6, and 7, which are the 4 options narrowed to by the board. And at this time, options 6 and 7 were the most preferred. The teachers were also asked to rank choice vote, first using the 7 options, then using the 4 options. In both cases, option 7 was the eventual top choice. Next, I analyzed the ranked choice data to consider the choices of staff from only East Lawn and Pleasant Acres, because I think it's a different, I mentioned this last week, it's a different consideration for those employees. When choosing from among 7 options, there was a split between options 1 and 7, with bilingual staff at East Lawn preferring option 1. And I do think we heard that this evening. Following the ranked choice process, option 7 was the eventual top choice. When selecting from only 4 options, and now that would mean that option 1 was not one to be selected from, option 7 was the top choice throughout every round of the ranked choice voting. A further question was asked of only K-5 bilingual teachers, teaching staff, so that includes classroom teachers and specialists, ESL teachers also. So if we only had options 6 or 7, which one would be preferred? If these were the only 2 options, 10 of 17 preferred option 7, 7 of 17 preferred option 6. So the majority preferred option 7. So that was the survey. A primary responsibility of the Board of Education and the superintendent is to do what is best in the long term for the school district. When considering changes, it is important to view changes through the lens of the overall impact on the entire school district. At this time, it is my professional opinion that while some of the options presented at the February 8th meeting would better position the district for improvement in teaching and in student learning, equitably balancing demographic enrollment patterns across the district, and improving our fiscal health, those options require significant disruptive changes to the district that the community and our employees are not prepared to accept at this time. A more significant change to K-5 organization at this time would be difficult to implement successfully for next school year. Implementing an option that would also maximize efficiency and effectiveness in teaching and learning, as well as fiscal responsibility, will take greater planning and should include increased communication, specifically with families and community members. Until there is a willingness to truly do things differently, our best course of action is to do what we can right now. It is my conclusion that the best option for the 24-25 school year is option 7, but this option may not be the best for the long term. A better option for the district is one that would also maximize efficiency and effectiveness in teaching and learning, as well as fiscal responsibility. Option 7 does alleviate the immediate capacity concerns at East Lawn and Pleasant Acres and will lead to more balanced K-5 enrollment between East Lawn and Pleasant Acres. So there's more to the recommendation that I need to clarify. There are 4 components that I think should the board act on my recommendation tonight that are additional parts of it. So some things we will have to do is immediately reevaluate the boundaries between East Lawn and Pleasant Acres for next school year to ensure that one school does not have a disproportionately larger K-5 enrollment. We need to immediately plan for transportation of bilingual students who qualify for transportation and consider additional transportation for families that will have students at both schools. Note that RCS is only required to provide transportation to students who live beyond 1.5 miles of the school to which the student is assigned. Third item is that I'm recommending we immediately engage with a third-party consultant to develop a 5 or 10-year student forecast model. That's enrollment projections. Evaluate our school enrollment boundaries and recommend organizational changes. Those changes would include boundary changes, grade span configurations, facilities capacity, facility needs, and programming options. This will be based on the student enrollment forecast and the long-term goals established by the board. The fourth item is that for the 24-25 school year, and I do think this is directly in response to some of the concerns we heard from our bilingual families tonight. So what this last one is saying is we have to provide some additional staff so that the students in the bilingual program are getting the appropriate levels of support. So the recommendation to do that for next year would be, get back to my right reading here, staff both buildings so that both East Lawn and Pleasant Acres have a minimum of 3 special education co-teachers, with at least 1 being bilingual at each school. Both schools should be staffed with a full-time ESL teacher, and both schools should be staffed with a full-time bilingual reading interventionist. This would be a net increase of 2.5 teachers, so there'd be additional staffing of 2.5, so that there are full-time specialists at both schools. So that's what I'm putting on the table for your consideration this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Woods. Board comments? Concerns?
We do want to use the microphone then.
If you're loud.
Take it.
No worries, Chair. My concern is that the bilingual community is heard. That was my biggest concern, which is why I wrote my letter last week since I couldn't be here. I can't talk to them because we're not allowed to converse right now. I don't know why it's stupid, but anyway, I would like to know why they are picking number 1 versus number 7. If it's number 7, it's different now than it was originally presented to them.
Yeah,
Option 1 would put all of the bilingual students in 1 building.
Right, I know the difference, but what I'm saying is,
I don't think it was clear that the additional parts that I'm putting in for the recommendation for option 7 do address the concerns about staffing so that we're getting adequate support. And I think that is a change from what was presented last week, yes.
okay, that's what I'm asking. So that's what the difference is. So they didn't have the same options presented to them, which is why they were majority picking number 1 originally, instead of. Sorry, instead of picking number 7.
That's gonna go viral on TikTok.
I hope so. But anyway, I just want their concerns to be heard. I want their voices to be heard because that is very important to me. And I explained to them that it was important to me when I went to see them. And so if number 7, the amended number 7 is addressing those concerns, and I also believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, with number 1, the reason that we are saying that there is a segregation problem is because not so much segregation with the bilingual students, but more so because then the other brown people, the Black people, it would be mainly the bilingual kids at one and then the Black kids at another school, which is where I feel like we were concerned that the whole segregation thing would be brought up. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think in my presentation in January, we talked about how option one would disproportionately change the enrollment at Pleasant Acres.
Okay, so then, again, if number 7 is addressing the concerns that the bilingual students would be facing, then I hope that that is heard by the bilingual community. I guess that's all I really have to say, thanks.
Thank you, Nikki, very much. Thank you, Nikki, very much. Anybody else?
I just want
That's right. So before tonight, those options where you said you're gonna add staffing to each building to help, because of some of the concerns here tonight were said that, you know, they're having to share staffing into the buildings, going back and forth, and they feel like they're not, you know, their staffing needs are not met for the bilingual students. So what you just mentioned, that we are gonna hire more staff to alleviate this problem, is this the first time that you announced it so people can know this, or did staff already knew about this?
Yeah, this is an add to the initial recommendation. I do want to say though, going back to, I don't remember, maybe October even, option 2, which has been there the whole time through, okay, different names. Option 2, when I have shared it with the staff, I have talked about adding those positions during those. Because if we're going to, it's my opinion that if we're going to split the kids evenly in the 2 buildings, we need to have an even amount of staffing for the 2 buildings. I may have said more.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just have, this is a tough question. After listening to the parents tonight and some of the staff, I know that a lot of their hope is that we have, like, you know, you said, one bilingual school. You know, we have K through 5th grade, having, you know, everybody in the district that is bilingual to be in that school. That every staff member in the building, in the district, that supports bilingual students to be in that school. And that would be amazing if we could do that. All the concerns that were said here tonight, I mean, I can relate. I was a bilingual student growing up, and I had parents that my mom did not speak the English, that I had to translate. And I'm a student that, you know, I'm lucky enough to know 2 languages and I've used it to my advantage in my life. And I've been successful at it. And I hear you, and, you know, but my only question is, if, it just putting it out there, because I have to, because I feel like I need to. I know that option 1 is no longer on the table, but if that would ever be viable or available for the district to have 1 bilingual school. And like I said, I'm just asking questions. Is there enough students to put in each grade level that we could maintain that? And second, it would not be, because what no monolingual students in that school, or give the option to the monolingual school students that want to learn that as a second language. Would that, I mean, is even those students interested in doing something like that? That we could house in something like that? It's just a question I have. Just because of the concerns I've heard from staff and from parents. And I have been you know, something that does hit home, I have to ask.
You asked a couple questions. No, to make me answer them if I forget something. So a dual language school, which is, so if you recall on the 7 options that were presented, we considered, how that would have an effect on inclusion of self-contained special education students and the possibility of having dual language immersion. Option 1 would go very well with a dual language immersion. And I think that's what you were asking. So the monolingual students enrolled there would be learning Spanish. And the Spanish speaking kids who are also monolingual would be learning English. Okay. I would love to see that. I know that Ms. Valente, who's the program director, would love to see that. I think that's where, when I put in the piece about bringing in an outside consultant to do that analysis and do that work, I can't answer your question to know if right now, if we would have enough monolingual kids, monolingual English kids to do that. And that's where more work needs to go into that before you would make that type of change, in my opinion. Did you have another question in there, Ms. Mendoza?
If we have at the current time, the staffing, yes, like it's the staff, like they're each like K, for K kinder, first grade, second grade, third grade, for just bilingual teachers.
Yeah, so this won't result in an increase in classroom teachers, I don't believe. So this requires for K-5, it's 12 classroom teachers. For the additional staff, I am not that concerned about finding more bilingual teachers. We've been very successful with recruiting. As I look at the Matias sisters out there, we just need to make them regular teachers and we're good, right? All right. If you didn't notice, they're twins, so. But we don't, we've got, I think we have 12 K-5 bilingual teachers right now, but it might be 11, I'd have to check. Katie, you ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like that we've added these additional pieces to the recommendation. I think that it's important. I think that this gives us an opportunity to address the immediate need and kind of ease the uncertainty, have a plan, but also provides us with an opportunity to improve or, further grow the bilingual program via collaboration in the short term. I love the consultant idea. I love having, a better plan for what this is gonna look like. What we might need programmatically, like we're talking about, do we have, the need for it? I know a lot of us have talked about how like dual language immersion would be a really great place to get, and I firmly agree with that. But I think that if we rush this process entirely, if we just move immediately to a bilingual school, I worry that it could be a little disastrous in the short term. So I appreciate that we are addressing the needs where we are, improving the staffing levels to have interventionists, but doing this in a way that we can plan for the future, knowing that this isn't a situation that's going to change or go away. So that's what I've got.
Thank you
Very much, Katie.
So the board members? I like this
lot more with obviously the staffing issue and bringing that up. I'm a barber by trade, used to be in baseball. I've had to deal with many walks of life, both Hispanic, Asian, special ed, and whatnot. I think this option brings the opportunity for my kid, your kid, our kids to be in contact with everyone, because eventually they're gonna get out in this workforce and they're gonna have to deal with it. I have 3 customers myself that are autistic. Autistic, not artistic, they probably are, but if I didn't have Rantoul the way that it was with the special ed kids being there, how do I know how to deal with them? If I didn't have the Hispanics, the Asians, the blacks, the whites, whoever you want to call, whatever race, religion, demographic you want to call, I think that this plan puts those, everybody with everybody, and you're gonna have to learn that eventually. And I enjoy that. And I enjoy that from growing up, that I know how to interact with, you know, special needs, whether it be physical, mental, and different races and religion. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Anybody else? Good evening, I'm Mo Johnson, Board Member Johnson. Tonight was very interesting. One thing that I heard from majority of the parents and actually staff members that actually works for the school system. As of last week, at the board meeting there, I still stand with what I feel. The information that we got and the changes that Dr. Woods put in place in number 7 definitely made 7 a little bit more reasonable. But I still feel that a lot of the community people out here that have spoke definitely doesn't want that. And I think what we need to do again, and I apologize to the board, but I still think we need to table this again, which I thought we had made comment on doing last week, until we can get a little bit more information on what we can and can't do legally, as well as for the community. Moto? Ryan, go ahead.
So, I mean, I would like to address it in Spanish, but I'm just gonna say it in English, so. Some of you said also mentioned that maybe building more and adding more to the buildings. I heard that once or twice. And I know that as a board, we wish we could build. But we, you know, at this time, we cannot. And I know that in the last couple of years, the reshifting of families back and forth to East Lawn and Pleasant Acres has been done. And nobody wants that. We want to be set at one school, we want a foundation, we want to know that this is the school. You know, is next year gonna change? Is the following year gonna change? You know, we want, who wants change year after year? Who wants to, work in the fact that like, the unknown, nobody wants that, and I understand that. And everything that was said here by staff members, by parents, I thought about it, and I've been running it right, sitting here thinking about it, every scenario. And God, I wish, I could say, I wish I could just say, each and everybody, let's do what you say, but we cannot. It's a very tough decision for all of us here sitting tonight. But at the end of the day, we gotta do what's best for what we have and what we can do with our staffing, with the buildings. And, is this gonna fix the situation? We don't know, nobody knows. We thankful that Mr. Lewis has added some stuff, that, option 7 that could help, that would help. Adding some more staff members, keeping them concrete in school. And, he's worked so hard on all these options and we're thankful that you've been working with us. But I feel, like what Moto said, do we either do more investigating and do we research more of what we can do and to do what, because we do want you guys to know that we care about you guys and we are listening to you. Or do we make a decision tonight, which is very tough?
You done? Robin?
So as many of you know, I was probably one of the more progressive people on this board asking for grade level centers. And I will say that I've listened to my other board members, the teachers.
That's what's causing it. There we go.
And our parents here. And I do believe that it's probably not the time to go in that direction. I think it's probably something that needs to be thought out a little longer and the community needs to be ready to move in that direction. I do agree that we as the board need to look at bringing in a consultant from outside of our community, a third party that is not affiliated with any of us, to give us an honest opinion on data and facts and where we need to go in the future. I think as the board, we need to take a hard look at our long-term goals and what we want to achieve in our district. And sit down and discuss those together so we're on the same page as where we want to go. As far as next year for the school choice, I am on board with option 7. And I say that because I feel like it's a good balance between what every group we've listened to so far has asked of us. Nobody's gonna get what they want from this. Nobody's gonna get everything they need from this. But I think option 7 gives everybody a little piece of what they need from this. And I think if we're bringing on more staff to address the deficiencies that we currently have or we would have, then I think it's beneficial to take a hard look at option 7. Oh, and I also kind of agree with Tyler. I do think it's really beneficial for my child and your child and, all of the various colors, ethnicities, religions, to interact and learn from each other and grow from each other. And I really like the idea of having a dual immersion program in the schools, so my children can learn from the Hispanic community and learn, separate languages and learn how to grow. And I do agree with our parents here tonight, learning separate languages and being able to be bilingual is a great advantage going forward. It's a step ahead of the rest of the communities that we have that are monolingual in their career paths. It opens doors for them that would previously be closed. And I think it would be a great idea for us to take a good look at dual immersion.
Thank you, Robin. Anybody else?
And number 7, provides for the dual immersion, correct? Option 7 does not.
It would be,
Again, I need to clarify this. I see this as 1 year. Because it could be longer term. But if what I'm putting on the table here is we've got to do what Robin was just saying, board member Vaughn. That if we're going to do something that significant, which a dual language immersion program is significant. If we're gonna do that, there's a lot more planning and preparation that needs to go into it. Could it work within option 7? Maybe. It'd be easier to do it within other options. Okay, so it's a maybe. I would have to know more.
Well, I'm confused because originally when
Mhm.
you stated it, you said that that was a good, option 7 was a good option for the dual immersion.
It could happen. I don't think it's optimal. I'd have to really look at it more.
Okay, and am I understanding it correctly that all the schools will be K-5? And then the bilingual program would be K-2 at one school and K-5 at another?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have a few things I'd like to add for the board and for the public. One, I want to emphasize how much better our bilingual program is now than what it was 6 years ago. Okay, so I love that Shay spoke. And I can tell you that her first grade sister, is gonna have a very different experience because prior to 6 years ago, students in our bilingual program did not have a Spanish-speaking teacher. They may get lucky and they may have one for an hour a day for pullout. And maybe at East Lawn, we had one Spanish-speaking teacher, but the program has grown considerably. Of our elementary teachers in bilingual, almost all of them are native speakers. There's definitely a feeling of closeness in our bilingual program. I've bragged about our bilingual parent advisory committee to many other districts because we do have such an involved parent group. So the program itself has really grown to something good, and I think what we're talking about now is how to make it better. Right, there's only one split classroom in the district right now, meaning a teacher has to teach 2 grade levels at the same time. Okay, and that is a bilingual teacher. And he has 24 students, which exceeds the class size limit. So this undoes that, okay? I think Juanice, who's in the room, has the largest class size in the district. Okay, oh, you know exactly. All right, I looked today, and it's a bilingual classroom. So we've got, if there's another 3rd grade teacher in the building with Juanice, then we're much less likely that Juanice is gonna go over the class size limit. Now, it could still happen because we can't project how many kids we're gonna get new. So those are things that, I think those are good problems to have. Another thing though I need to point out is that option 7, or I think probably option 1, does limit Ms. Didier's ability to make some changes with the inclusion of our self-contained special ed programs. We're still very, very tight on space at East Lawn and Pleasant Acres, so this option would likely delay for at least a year any ability to bring the self-contained students back into Pleasant Acres and East Lawn. But again, that I think should go into a longer term planning, because if what we want is every school be able to house their highest needs special education students, then we have to have a plan for that. It doesn't mean Allison isn't gonna be able to make changes. But there's not a classroom at East Lawn next year for her to have to use for special ed, although we'll try, right? The other one is working with a consultant is a major commitment on the part of the district. I'm okay doing it. I've been following two districts that I used to work in that are currently using the same consultant. It's just that by chance. So St. Charles, Illinois, which is a large suburban district, is using the same consultant as Urbana. And both districts right now are working to move to a dual language, single site bilingual program. What I can also tell you is they used a consultant, but they still have a lot of people showing up to their board meetings and a lot of people who are unhappy and a lot of people that think the board is making the wrong decision. The difference is the data supporting it is coming from a third party that is more objective, I would say. I think I'm doing a good job with all this data, but I cannot project easily or with great accuracy what enrollment will look like in 5 years. Remember I had that one table in January that said 100 students? That's a guess, all right? I also think, as Robin said, we have to create some goals as a district. And that should be what's driving where we're putting our additional resources in the future. So those are my 3 things. Bilingual program is so much better than it was. Special ed program has some limitations with option 7, and a consultant is a big commitment. Also cost, I didn't mention cost on a consultant. I did ask a neighboring district to the south if about how much have you spent, and off the top of her head, it was $45,000. So that gives you an idea of the cost, and those consultants have not been on site yet. Okay, they do it all, it's all data that they're looking at. They will be on site eventually, I was told today.
Okay, board? How do you want to proceed? We have, I think, at least 2 that would like to maybe table this.
Yeah, I'd like.
Is there any more? So we need to have 4. Yeah.
I get to be the parliamentarian
Yes,
tonight?
you get the
Oh, okay,
parliamentarian.
so let's hold off on a tabling, because I got some clarification from our attorney on what tabling means. The options would be, so you could motion to table, make a second, the majority of the board motions to table. The problem is then you have to, at a future meeting, motion to untable. I did not know that. So the board could, by agreement, by consensus, decide to postpone the vote. That's the same thing as tabling. It's just less complicated to undo. The other thing is that a board member could call for a motion, and if another board member seconds the motion on a vote, the board could call for a vote. So what if the board were to call for a vote on an item? So for instance, a motion to approve option 7 as presented, that could be a motion. Seconded, it's voted. If it fails, then a board member could do motion to reconsider, and then we vote on something else. You could continue to do that until you agree on what you want to do. So you don't have to just vote once, there's options. So I think though, probably what you're interested in is either postponing or voting on the recommendation. That probably what.
I don't mind postponing because I have more questions because what I thought was happening. You need to say this into the microphone?
They're probably here.
What I said was I would not mind postponing because what I thought was happening with option 7 is not happening. So I have a lot more questions.
Okay, so it's 3 postponements.
I'd be okay with that.
Good. All right, so board, when would you like to meet again? When would you like to meet again? So we have a regularly scheduled meeting for March 14th. And I'm gonna say, I think it's March, is it March 21st? Somebody,
Like, isn't that spring break?
It's not spring break.
you can come on the 14th, but it's spring break. So
No.
March 21st is the next regular meeting. I would encourage you to meet much sooner than that. Because I'm looking at some of our teachers. They need to know what they're doing. As do our parents. And we've also got things to plan. And if we do option 7, there's a wall to build in one of the classrooms, you know, so there's those things. We can schedule after the fact, you don't have to do it right.
I'm gonna say publicly, I'd rather make a decision. I think it's important decision. I will certainly obviously go along with what the board would like us to do. Majority rules. So I would prefer that we make a decision so people know. I think especially with your additions, that 7 could be an option. Would be the best option for us for next year, but that's me, so that's my view. I think everyone spoke, I think I need to speak myself too.
I also think that we should go ahead and vote on it, just with it. I mean, I think we've kind of set our piece on where we all stand on it. I think, we should just go ahead and do it. But on the other side, if we're not going to, can I ask Dr. Woods, what's the timeline on next year? Like, how long do we have to put this off?
You're asking me, a January board meeting would have been great. So, I would just say the sooner the better. Because the default is, so there's no decision, the default is we make it work. And we're gonna have real challenges with doing that. I can't give you, I mean, I would. The latest we should do this would be next March 21st. Ideally, we would make a decision sooner than that. Trying to find my calendar.
The board. I think we've all spoken.
I just want you to know that I'm sticking to, my decision of wanting to table it and or you want to call it postpone. Because, I need more information. Sort of like Ms. Pettit said, the changes, I don't think none of the families, and I'm not sure about the staff, knew anything about other than when we got it, of course, on our board book. But, I think, just my own opinion, I think we need to wait to make a decision. I do not think the decision should be made tonight.
I think it's up to us to decide tonight when we're going to discuss this again.
I think we should for sure hold a special this month. I don't think we need to wait till March. I think that's bad.
Is that? Let's, that's what we want to do. Somebody needs to make that proposal. That proposal. State vote.
You don't have to vote on it.
Don't have to vote.
Do we need to make a motion?
No.
Okay.
If the board is in agreement to postpone, you can postpone. That was the clarification I got. It doesn't require a vote.
But we do need to.
We definitely will. Sooner the better.
Yeah.
Dr. Woods.
What do we need?
How about right now, next Thursday?
What's?
Dr. Woods. Can I ask a question of the board?
Sure. Tom is going to ask a question, Mr. Majors.
What other information would you like before the special meeting? Because I think to be aware of that might help us determine the best time to meet.
He said, what information would you like to have for the next meeting? Because that may help us know how soon we can have the next meeting.
A lot of it isn't coming from you guys, it's coming from, I would like to know if the people that it's going to affect, if the bilingual staff is okay with number 7 versus number 1, that they all seem to want. And then also I want to look at what Dr. Woods had, like the pros and the cons that he listed for us. I want to know why it changed. I want to sit down and talk to him and understand what's going on with that.
So. I'm kind of hearing they'd like to postpone. Everybody okay with that? Okay, so, all right, we'll postpone, but when we're gonna meet, I hope,
Same time next week?
same time next week, would that be okay? That give you enough time?
Nope. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to check with my wife.
Yeah, can we hold it on a day that's not a Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
I have a volleyball game. Wednesdays, 8th grade night.
We have to post the agenda at least 2 days in advance.
We do it Monday?
There's no school on Monday if you want to.
There's no school on Monday, we could still have a meeting.
Right.
Except not.
But it's not enough time to get the information that you want.
Yeah.
I'm asking, I'm not questioning, I'm just asking.
I'll go up to all of these people after the meeting today, right? So, what do you think about number 7? It's not that difficult for me to talk to the people.
So are we thinking Monday or Tuesday?
I don't know, Scott, when can you meet with me?
8 o'clock. I'm just kidding.
Perfect.
I'm gonna suggest Tuesday since it's a work day, because there are issues with, some of our employees aren't necessarily going to be here. They wouldn't necessarily have to be here to get the building open.
Next.
The next Monday.
Next one. Perfect. I can do it.
Suggestion of Monday, the 26th. 6
Any
o'clock.
question about that? 26th, Monday, 6 o'clock here. Moto? All right, 26th?
I doubt that for me.
We have to deal with.
I wasn't here last week. I have to go.
I'm gonna ask Ms. Teeman. Do you have any suggestions, Anna, since you schedule a lot of our time together?
So, we were at the 26th, but how many people can we get on the 26th? Not enough?
6 or 7.
One.
Or the 27th? The 27th is fine. You can't be here the 27th? All right, then the 28th?
I can't do Wednesdays.
All right. Then we're back at the 29th.
Sorry.
The 29th of February is a Thursday.
And that's not for you.
Yeah, but my admin team will be gone,
Okay, so
and me too.
can we come up with a date? Like, can I consolidate some of this, like maybe and get everybody's answer that way and not necessarily get an answer at this very moment? Or do you want to nail down a day and a time right now? If you'd prefer to do that.
I would prefer a date right now, so everyone knows.
Right. Right, so we can also, I feel like.
Well, I didn't know about this.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah, so then,
People need to know.
Yeah.
then is the 20th, what was wrong with the 20th, Tuesday, the 20th?
How about with that? I've changed it 3 times.
Tuesday, the 20th.
I can do that.
Tyler, is that not a good one for you? Or no?
Yeah.
Right, so then can we do Tuesday, the 20th? Is
I
that,
have a volleyball game, but whatever. I mean, if you guys aren't gonna do it for everyone else, the one person that can be here, then I would appreciate if you could not do it for me, the one. person
Okay,
that can be
then-
here.
21st.
then the 21st?
No, that's a great night. I have volleyball games
Okay.
all next week.
So then, what about the Monday, the 19th? Does Monday, the 19th work?
Holiday.
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 I understand, I understand that. I'm just trying to come up with a consensus with the board on what day might work.
That's what I suggested, but then Dr. Wood said
Okay.
no because there's no.
All right, so then, so we've gone through the whole of next week and we don't
Right.
have anything.
Right.
If everybody can be here on the 20th, we can have a meeting. Absolutely.
I can't be.
Okay.
Oh, I meant the Monday. The Monday,
So, Ms.
the
Pettit?
19th.
Yes, I could be here on the 19th.
So Ms. Pettit, what time could you be here? But then we run into, I was thinking, could we do earlier on the 20th? But then we run into other problems.
Right.
What over the 19th?
The 19th, fine.
19th, I don't know if the lights will be turned on, but we'll do it the 19th. 6 o'clock. It's same location. Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment to the board. I thought that was very, very well handled by all of us. Appreciate all of you, what you do. Your input. Thank you. And Dr. Woods too, for his input on this, and his team. Okay, we're gonna move on.
It's 6, the meetings are at 6 o'clock, so 6 o'clock, Monday, February 19th.
One more time, February 19th, 6 o'clock, next Monday here. Not gonna change
It's gonna
it.
give us the opportunity to have some conversations and get some clarification. Okay, let's.
Okay, can I also ask the audience, it's getting a little hard to hear up here. If we could just, thank you very much, much appreciated. We're moving on number 9, action item, elementary school sorry, 10, sorry, just did 9, I don't know. What 10, action, 2024-25 academic calendar.
You could just make a motion and vote.
Make a motion to approve the item as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Anna?
Peter Johnson.
Aye.
Lee Johnston. Aye. Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn. John Brotherton.
Aye, this time.
All right,
Number 11, action item. Sign on bonus.
that's a memorandum of understanding with the Teachers Association. Administration recommends entering into the attached agreement, which is in your packet, which will allow the district to provide an initial $1,000 sign-on bonus to newly hired certified staff. This will be paid out of the teacher vacancy grant.
Any questions? Somebody like to make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Second?
I said.
Moto seconds it.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn. Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza.
Aye.
Katie Johnston.
Aye.
And Moto Johnson.
Aye.
Okay. Action 24.5 compensation.
Okay, this is an annual item. The board is asked to approve compensation increases for all employees not covered by a collective bargaining agreement. That would mean the union, or individual contract for the 24-25 school year. Unless noted, employees will receive a minimum 4% increase consistent with employees covered by a collective bargaining agreement. Employees who qualify for the district's retirement incentive may see a 6% increase. And that is it.
Make the motion to approve the item as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, Tyler and Robin did that.
Loda Johnson,
Aye.
Katie Johnston,
Aye.
Diana Mendoza,
Aye.
Nikki Pettit,
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn, John Brotherton.
Aye. 13, approval of asbestos abatement bid at Raw Meadow School.
The asbestos abatement bid is related to a construction project at Broadmeadow. This bid is only regarding the asbestos abatement. 5 companies obtained bid documents, and I need to clarify, 4 companies submitted completed bids. The low bidder was AAA Asbestos. The recommendation is to approve the base bid of $12,500 with the alternate bid $1,100 for a total cost of $13,600. No, we have to motion to approve.
Okay, number 13.
No, we have to.
Well, it's not on here. Oh, it's not on.
Motion.
All right, we'll have to make a motion. I thought that also, but it wasn't on. I'll make a motion to approve it. Second it?
Yep.
John Brotherton.
Aye.
Robin Vaughn. Tyler Wilson.
Aye.
Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Diana Mendoza. Katie Johnston. Loda Johnson.
Okay.
Dismiss and authorize dismissal of charges. We got something to read here.
We just have to read the motion with the employee's name. We just have to read the motion.
Yes, that's kidding.
Recommended motion is the motion to adopt resolution to dismiss and to authorize notice of dismissal and change charges to employee's name, and that is Taya Calloway. We're going to recommend dismissal. So,
I second it.
thank you.
Loda Johnson.
Abstain.
Katie Johnston. Aye. Diana Mendoza. Aye. Nikki Pettit.
Aye.
Tyler Wilson.
Abstain.
Robin Vaughn.
Aye.
And John Brotherton.
Aye. Yeah, that moves us to number 15, information items.
Okay.
Request. Talk about that a minute.
All right.
That's always one of your favorite things.
We had 2 FOIAs since the last meeting. There were, 1 media, I did say at the last meeting because it happened the day of the meeting, but Jessica Locke, Pleasant Acres, was Teacher of the Week. Your student discipline report is included. I'm informing the board that a tentative budget amendment will be posted. I believe it's going into the paper tomorrow and available to the public tomorrow. And then there will be a budget hearing at the March meeting for the approval of the amended budget. I'm sorry to be clear. This is regarding the amended budget. Thank you. Make sure everyone knows that our district-wide annual African American History Celebration will be held at JW Ader on February 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30. We will also have a cyberbullying presentation from the Attorney General's office, not the Attorney General himself. That'll be April 17th at 5 p.m. I believe we're going to do that at One Aviation at this location. And that's it for information items.
New business. Okay. Board superintendent comments. Let you start. Do you have anything, Nick? Okay, board, do you have any comments? We do. Go, Robin.
I just want to briefly say thank you to all of you for coming out and participating in the democratic process, because it's very important to me that we get to hear your voices in this and we get to understand what impacts our decisions are making on your communities. So thank you very much for coming out.
Anybody else? Go, Diane.
I wanna go by that. I also wanna thank everybody that was here today. It shows in every single word that you guys said up in the podium that you have a passion, that you know, what you said, you spoke with your heart and you mean it. And you know, you want your voice to be heard. That takes a lot. You should congratulate yourself for doing that. For the staff that, you know, that spoke today, you know, thank you for bringing your recommendations and your thoughts, and for the peak staff that is here, you know, we hear you and we understand you and we hope we make what's best. And a big thank you to, to our translator here, because that is a very hard job to do. Thank you. I've done it before and kudos to you for doing that. Amazing job. And last but not least, Mr. Woods. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for answering all our questions, for being there, for, every time we say, no, let's go back, let's check this, status, statistics, everything. He's been, and the admin team, thank you, and also thank you for my recommendation of having a translator here. It is very important for our community, and I want to thank you for doing that and adding that to our board meetings. And, thank you for being here tonight and just, sharing your valuable time with us. And I hope we make the right decision.
Anybody else? Once again, everybody, thank you for showing up. This is part of a process. And we're trying to make the right steps. Are we going to make the right steps? We don't know, right? Not different from when I umpired, I was right all the time. Just ask me, I'll tell you. As Dr. Wood said earlier, we are not the only district dealing with this. You see this because you are in this district. I assumed that other districts were dealing with it, but he just said Urbana is dealing with it as well. We are not alone. The bilingual, the Hispanic community is growing across the board. We are just trying to make the right decision for now. And we hope that by involving you in the process, involving the teachers, involving the parents, the other staff, that we are doing our due diligence. And we appreciate you guys all coming out. Thank you very much.
Dr. Woods, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a little research on.
I know.
Okay. There you go. Then you could, I won't.
So Hannah's going to reach out to all of you to schedule the meeting. Because, I need to verify this, but I don't believe we can hold a board meeting on a holiday.
That's cool.
So we're gonna check and make sure, but we'll plan on it for that day. And in case anybody wondered, I was texting our attorney to ask that question. She hasn't texted me back, so.
Anna, if it makes it easier, and the 20th works for everyone, I'll make it work for me.
So when we get clarification on it. Great, thank you.
I'll text everybody tomorrow and we'll compile a date that works for most people. Okay.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say thank you as well. And I was being very serious when I said that I wanted you guys to reach out to me after this meeting today to tell me if option 7 would work for you, since there is no more option 1. Thank you so much for being brave, because I know when I spoke to some of you at the school, I had to like coax you into talking to me. So thank you very much for coming out, because it is a big deal to do that.
So I guess now we better have you get your calendars out again. It's either gonna be the 19th or it's gonna be the 20th, because there's some dispute about if you have a holiday, that you can have a board meeting. I believe the high school's done that. My wife was on the high school board.
It can only be done.
How they did do it.
It can only be done if the board meeting falls on the holiday, then you can have it.
Then you could have, okay.
Yeah, it's not-
Because they're the next, thank you, this first, because they do meet on Mondays. You're absolutely correct. See, I didn't think about that part, so. Would you just rather change it to the 20th and then people will know? That be okay? Hold on, 20th? Okay, folks, I'm sorry. I promise to be it. January 20th at 6 o'clock here. I mean, sorry, not January. February 20th, sorry, see, I can't do anything right. February 20th at 6 o'clock. This coming Tuesday. Is that right? Okay, so hopefully that's it. Now, if I get in on something a little bit lighter note, have us maybe walk out with maybe more smile than we may have right now. Tomorrow night in East Lawn, they're having a dance. And I had my invitation and I bought new shoes. They're called the dancing shoes.
I will be there.
So we're gonna be dancing. Diane, you and I are gonna be, we're gonna be doing something. You can trust me.
Okay.
So anyway, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much for coming. This meeting is usually